All right, boys, welcome to Treadmill Talks. Today we're going to talk about the different pills, blue, red, black, whatever have you. And then we're going to talk about the pros and cons of each and why watching that content isn't exactly what's best for you and why we need to actually evolve past that paradigm. Let me explain. So I got this video idea from a comment in my last video where the guy was like, all men just want to get married and have kids and they don't want to deal with all this BS. Okay, I get it. And I'll explain the fundamental problem with that thought process at the end of the video. But we're going to start with the blue pill because we've all been there, right? Let's start with the blue pill. Now, the pros and cons of the blue pill. This is where everyone starts their journey as men, or as young men, right? We start in our teenage years, we start dating, we start falling in love, and we start, buying the girl flowers and chocolates on the first date. Well, this is how we did it when I was a teenager, right? Maybe the kids nowadays have a better perspective on it, but that's how we did it when we were kids, right? Now, why that's not really a problem, looking back in hindsight, because women will burn you for this behavior, right? So every time you buy a chick flowers, chocolates, whenever you simp for a woman, before you actually get to know her, she punishes you for it. That's what blue pill is, right? So when you repeatedly get punished for a certain type of behavior, it teaches you that that behavior is no longer acceptable, which is a good thing over the long haul. Now, the problem is men wish that this wasn't the case. They wish that they could just be a sweet guy, buy her chocolates, and, have a family and have kids. Now, it's funny because if I was a female or if we were females, wouldn't we want, that's probably the crux of the entire problem, because if we were females, that makes sense why that would work for us. Because on the flip side, if you ever date a chick and she bakes you something, makes you a bracelet, or makes you a figurine, draws you a little card, a little love letter or something, it hits really deep for men. It really means a lot to us. So we think that that same behavior means a lot to women when it actually doesn't, right? So back to the blue pill thing. You do the same behavior, you're a good guy, sweet guy, you get burned, you get burned, you get burned. And then you find the red pill content afterwards, right? Actually, let me talk about the pros of the blue pill first. What are the pros? The biggest pro of the blue pill, and if you can actually remember back when you were in that mode, back in that paradigm, the biggest pro was that you actually had hope, and then you actually had the ability to fall in love with women because you thought that they actually just loved you back and they weren't just transactional little shits, right? Which we'll save that for another video, because that's kind of what I'm struggling with right now, is the whole transactional nature of women. But if you actually look back to all the previous girlfriends that you've had, if you've had any, it's always been based off of a transaction, right? Of some sort. Dr. Orion Taraban speaks about this the best. Now, where a woman will latch onto a man's boat when she thinks he's going somewhere to achieve her goals, right? And then you never really know if the girl is just there because she likes you, right? Now, there is a way around that, which I'll explain in another video again. There's a lot of topics to cover, right? But again, the best thing about the blue pill is that you really just have the ability to fall in love with women. Now, so you'll see the whole narrative right now is when a woman turns 30 years old, she will latch onto a blue pill beta, like a provider type, and then have married and have kids. Now, in my age demographic right now, I see that everywhere. Like the hottest chicks from like my high school are like matching up with like the ugliest, most beta, but they have like decent jobs and they're secure. And then you're walking around and you're like, what the hell is even this, right? It's super fascinating when you're actually red pill aware and you can see this nonsense. Now, on the flip side again, there are countless number of people my age getting divorced as well, right? So you can't just look at you have to look at the whole picture. Just because there's a bunch of blue pill betas getting married and having kids right now doesn't mean they're not gonna get destroyed in 5 or 10 years from now. I know I have so many. So here's the thing. I have so many blue pill buddies that actually do have families and kids, but a lot of them are divorced. The woman destroyed the man, took all of his money, and now his life is over. So it's like, yeah, the pro is you can fall in love with the woman. The con is if you're not aware of the risks, you might literally end your life, right? And that's the big problem. Now, it's better if you get burned as a blue pillar early on in your teens and in your early 20s when you don't have anything for them to take, right? Because let's say, even if you do get married at age 20 or 21 and you have kids, and then she destroys you when you're like 30 or 32, well, by that point, if you guys did actually end up building an empire together, it doesn't feel as bad when she takes half of it because she was there with you while you were building it, right? It feels much worse when you actually build an empire by yourself and then a woman tries to take half. And then now you're playing defense all the time, right? So actually, I feel like it's better if men and women kind of blue pill together when they're really young. And then that way they can just kind of fuck each other over when they're older, but then they still have time to adjust afterwards, right? When you're in your 40s, you don't have time to make those mistakes anymore, right? For both men and women. So that's the pros and cons of the blue pill. So you go through that whole journey, right? You encounter the red pill or the black pill, one or the other, right? And there's a lot of pros and cons to the red pill, right? Well, the main con that I see perpetrated, shown forward by the red pill, and they call it red pill rage, is when the man realizes that you can't fall in love with women because on the back of your mind, you know that they're always after something all the time. Which I struggle with too, to be totally honest. It bothers the hell out of me. But the flip side is you have to take the emotion out of it. And we got 100,000 years of human evolution where a woman's survival was predicated on latching on to hypergamy or taking value from men. That's how that gender survived. So for us, inner blue pillars, if you want to call it that, the idea that a woman has to latch on to something in order to survive in 2026 bothers the hell out of us, right? We can't get over that shit. So, and that's the biggest hurdle that we have. And then, so you're like, well, if a woman is never going to be able to love me for me, then you actually end up going black pill, right? There is another path, though, which we'll explain. Now, when you actually watch red pill content on the regular, the main problem with that type of content is it it's so negative that it actually makes you not see the joy of hanging out with women anymore. Like, women are fun, dude. Dude, I have no male friends. I have like 2 male friends. All my other friends are female just because they're way more fun to hang out with. They're goofy, they make jokes, they make me laugh my ass off. They make like weird noises with their mouths and shit. They're children. Like, women are basically just kids, right? And you don't get that type of energy by hanging out with men, because men have, I don't want to say women don't have responsibilities. This is actually a good topic for another video of why women feel so off-putting these days, is because they're basically men, right? In terms of responsibility for themselves and their families. So, as a man, you have so much responsibility to take care of everyone that you care about that you kind of, over time, you lose the joy of like just being a kid. Like, remember when you were a kid just playing soccer and laughing and having fun, throwing water balloons, whatever, right, with your bros? Doesn't happen anymore, right? It's all about responsibilities, paying bills, social media telling you to build your empire. You're gonna be broke forever. There's too much, there's too much. World War III is happening, it's too much, right? Now, the best thing that you can do to remind yourself of what it was like to actually enjoy a female's company is to actually just go out with a girl who's like under 25, who like reality hasn't hit them yet, and you don't try to screw them, you don't try to bang them, you just hang out with them as their friend, and you just enjoy their company. And I'll tell you, it'll almost give you the perspective of like, this is why I fell in love with women in the first place. It's the energy that they can provide your life of actually just having joy of having another human around, right? And them like, it's really hard to describe, man. It almost feels like having a best friend of some sort, but like not a serious one where you're talking about business all the time. You're talking about like taking a shit and like, I don't even know, like, do you know what I'm saying? It's something that you can't actually describe, the energy that these younger girls can give you, right? Now, when you date an older woman, they're more masculine, where they like the life has beaten them down so much that all they want to talk about is like their problems. They're basically just men, right? So it's not the same. Anyway, that's the red pill. The more you watch that content, the more you're gonna just like resent women. That's not productive. It's not productive at all. What's the point? The whole goal is to meet a girl you can have a family with, or just date around single. Or hell, you know what? Even the goal could just be to have female friends, just to laugh. How about that? Let's start with that as goal number 1. I just want to have a female friend to laugh with, okay? Now, that's the more pro side of red pill. And the con is you get so resentful and hateful. It's all about hypergamy. It's all about looks. It's all about money, which, by the way, it's not. It's not. Jesus, it's not. We'll talk about that in another video too, where every time you level up with your looks or money, the dynamic of women change every time you level up, and it's very off-putting. That'll be another video. The black pill. This one is interesting because it's kind of like the men going your own way type of thing. I relate to this one quite a lot because this was a kind of an issue for me as well. After my divorce, so I built my other YouTube channel while I was married during the pandemic. And the whole time I was I actually built that channel for her initially because she wanted a house and a family, right? And then me on my 9 to 5, couldn't support an entire family on that one income. So I'm like, I'll do a side hustle, no problem. Took me about 2.5 years, 3 years to really start getting monetization going. Now, throughout the process of me building that channel, that woman, I'm not really too sure why, but it felt to me like her entire goal was to stop it from happening. Looking back now, it seemed like she maybe encouraged it at the beginning because she didn't think I could do it. But then when I actually just plowed forward and did it, she might have gotten scared that my value was judged or increasing too high over hers or something like that. I'm not too sure. Now, here's the crazy thing. Back to the black pill thing. When we actually did get divorced and she moved out of the house, the next day, the first thing, well, you know what the weird thing was my voice was echoing off the walls, which means just how much shit she had in my house, right? Like furniture and stuff. Like she loaded my house up, man. But the second thing I noticed was I had about an extra 6 hours a day of free time now. So her arguing with me every single day was consuming 4, 5, 6 hours of my time every single day. And then what do you think happened? My income literally quadrupled within the year after my divorce. Thankfully, she didn't take anything. She's a sweet girl. That's what we'll talk about that in another video too. You don't really have to worry about women taking half your shit if you select just good people. Like she's a good person. Like she was always a very, very sweet girl, right? My ex. So she didn't take half my shit. She could have. That would have been a big, huge problem, but she didn't. She's like, nah. Now, I was dating another girl for about a year and a half, and my income, she kind of jumped on board after my income quadrupled, right? And then when I was with this girl, this is the last year and a half here. When I was with this girl, my incomes kept going up at a linear fashion, even though I was paying for all of our dates. So I thought it was a fair trade. So I'm like, okay, I'll pay for everything. This girl is actually, the way I rationalized it was, she is saving me time by me not having to go clubbing every weekend to pick up new chicks, right? So I can just, the sexual portion of my life is handled so I can focus on the business. And I would see her twice a week, like a situationship type of thing, right? So then, when I broke up with that girl, long story, I'll get into it. It's still kind of fresh, so I can't get into it just now, but when I broke up with that girl in October, guess what happened again? My income skyrocketed. And it wasn't because of the time, because I didn't really spend that much time with her. This time it was more about just enjoying life with her in terms of just sheer spending money on her. Just for like dinners, like things like $100 dinner here, $100 dinner there. And then when that stops, it feels like a very drastic change because like you stop at cold turkey, like I don't see this girl anymore. Now all of a sudden I have like an extra $500 a week. Like it's insane, it's huge. So I'm like, when it comes to the black pill and like going your own way as a man, it's like, oh, I see their perspective too, because every time I'm not with a woman, I'm like, I'm in better shape. Look at this. I'm in better shape. I'm way richer. I don't have to babysit somebody else's family. I don't have to take care of them. I don't have to listen to them complain about Debbie at work talking shit. There's so much to just being single where it seems like you just excel at life when you are single, as long as you're not focusing on women. That's the problem. If you're a black pillar, like the doomer type, where you're like, women are the devil, but then you spend all day watching black pill content. Now you're not actually progressing, right? If you're actually going to go your own way as a man and progress, that needs to be your focus, right? And there is some merit to that because I've literally just experienced that. But we're already approaching 20 minutes here. I could talk about this shit forever. But that's the pro of the black pill, is you actually can make something of yourself if you're focusing on it. The con is you just death spiral into this like, woe is me, victim mindset. And let me tell you, this is how I'll close off the video. Anytime you think, woe is me, victim mindset, or I can't improve, or I can't do anything, or I'll never get married or have kids or whatever, you're done. What that means is that you took your autonomy as a human and your power as a human, your power as a man, and you gave it away to the world or the universe to control you. And when you enter that paradigm, good luck. Now you're at the effect, not the cause, right? You react to world events. You're not trying to oppose them and make your own path, right? As a man, you plow forward, regardless of what happens in the universe or on Earth. You plow forward and you achieve your goals and you make it happen no matter what. You never play the victim. All right, guys, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Okay, talk to you later.